previous modules we introduced structures, and structures are a way of grouping together related information. And in your structure you can have data members, you can have a bunch of different data members. They can be of different data types. And classes, we're going to see, allow for encapsulation, and encapsulation allows us to put together not only data but also functions together in one unit, and that's what classes allow us to do. So here you'll see an example of a class that has a data member in it, just like you saw with structures. So I could declare C1, for instance, and then I could say C1.radius is assigned the value of 5. And you'll notice that I get an error message here that says radius is inaccessible. And the reason is because unlike structures where all of your members are public, in classes, by default, they are private. Private means that they cannot be directly accessed by the programmer. So when you come into any kind of class, there are what are called member access specifiers, and you'll see here okay, so you can also use what's called a member access specifier to denote if something is private or public. Now, by default in a class, everything is private, but generally we'll put the word private prior to any of the data members. And again, in classes, a lot of times the data members are private and the functions are public. So I'm going to show you now how to incorporate functions in your class as well. Okay. So as you can see from this example, I list my data member, which in this case is just radius, and it's going to be private. And then everything that follows the word public is going to be public, which means that a programmer can access this. So the way that we don't have direct access to the data member here, okay, because it's private, but what we can do is we can call the function. So I can call set radius, and I can set the radius in this case to 5. So these types of functions that are packaged with our class are called set functions and get functions. They're sometimes called setter and getters. They can be called accessors and mutators. I like to call them set and get functions. And this will allow us to set the value of radius, and this will allow us to get the value of radius if we want to use it or if we want to display it. So for instance, I could say this. C1.get radius. Okay, so the way that we get to access the data is through the use of the functions, or they can also be called methods. Functions and methods can be used interchangeably of the class. So really most classes that you see, there will be set functions and get functions provided for the data members. So now you can see a class packages together data and functions together in one. So that's really the idea, and you can have other functions in here as well. Like I could write a function now maybe to get the area. Of the circle, and my code might just look like this. 3.14, which is pi times radius times radius. So you can put whatever functions you want that'll work with your class, and here we're putting everything together.